My story begins in 1952, before I was even born, when a jury sitting at the Crumlin Road Courthouse in Belfast announced its verdict. They had heard the highly emotional testimony of a young legal secretary along with the evidence of her father and her fiancé, and had found in their favour. The court awarded damages of £250 to the plaintiffs, finding that they had been slandered by a member of the legal secretary's fiancé's family. The plaintiffs were my mother, Betty Loudon, and her father, Martin. The case came about after my parents had become engaged. My father's wealthy Aunt Mary had offered to fund the deposit on his and my mother's first home, which was £250, a significant sum back in those days. However, other members of my father's extended family interfered. They disapproved of the engagement because my mother came from a working class background, and persuaded Aunt Mary to withdraw her generous gift, even though my parents had already had their offer on the property accepted and needed a deposit. If this was not bad enough, Aunt Mary had also vindictively repeated hurtful and false allegations about my mother and her father, which resulted in them suing her for slander. So far as I am aware, taking libel, never mind slander, proceedings back in the day was very unusual, especially for ordinary people, as well as being risky and stressful. The £250 awarded to my parents was hardly the £1 million in libel damages that the publishers of the Sun newspaper paid out to Sir Elton John in 1988 over a series of false stories, or the $15 million awarded to Johnny Depp by a jury in his US defamation suit against his former wife Amber Heard. Nonetheless, it was a significant sum for a young couple back in those days, even if it came too late for them to buy the home they had set their hearts on. I did not know about this until shortly before my mother passed away, but I now view it as precedent serendipity given my subsequent career as a media lawyer. I don't know why my parents never talked about it, but their relationship with Aunt Mary definitely improved over the years, as we were often taken to visit her when we were children. My father had had what must have been a difficult and unusual childhood, in that he was handed over by his parents around the age of 3 to his Aunt Mary and his grandmother for reasons that were unknown to us. They effectively reared him within 4 or 5 miles of his parents' farm. He went on to become a bank manager at the Trustee Savings Bank. Maybe it was just the way things were in the 1960s, but none of this was ever discussed with me or my 2 brothers. Growing up in the seaside town of Bangor, County Down, my primary interest in life was sport. Anything involving a ball and some form of competition appealed to me, and when I wasn't at school, I was out in the street or in one of the fields near our house from dawn to dusk. I saw school as nothing more than a necessary means to an end. I passed the 11 plus exam and went on to Bangor Grammar School in 1966, but I wasn't particularly studious or academic. At school, my focus was on rugby and tennis, and I seized every opportunity to play football in my spare time. As I approached my university years, squash became my main passion. Although I never had a particular talent for any of these sports, I loved anything involving intense physical activity. This led me to participate in the first Newton Ards Marathon with minimal preparation. My limited training involved a maximum distance of about 10 miles. On the day of the race, I made it to the finishing line in 4 hours and 20 minutes, notwithstanding my lack of training, inappropriate running shoes and sportswear, albeit with blood coming from my chest and toes, much to the bewilderment and concern of those watching.